Good afternoon, officers. Thank you. I know even if you've got a mask, but we can hear you. I'm just here to thank you for the job you are doing and taking the orders from the President of our country, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, who have ordered a lockdown. And you as the law officers, you have been at the forefront to ensure that the regulations that have been pronounced to enforce the lockdown are implemented. And I know for a fact with my colleagues here, the Mayor of Johannesburg, and also my colleague here in Gauteng, the MEC of Transport, Mr. Jacob Mamabulu, everybody has been working around the clock to ensure that there is law and order and regulations are obeyed. These regulations are not draconian regulations. They are regulations of life, regulations of ensuring that our people do keep a distance for the preservation of life. Kufanele abantu bakuthi bayazi ukuthi lo mthetho lo umongameli awubekile ayingomthetho wengcinezelo, ngumthetho wekwenza ukuthi sihlale siphephile, siphile kahle singabantu baseMzantsi Afrika. Lento kuthiwa yi-coronavirus, amakhosa athi ifana nento eningayibiza ngokuthi yikawungenja, yinto eningakwazi nokuyicacisa ngoba ihamba nje ayibambeki. It's an invisible enemy. So lokho njengoba umphathiswa wezempilo kwelizwe ubaba udokotela uZweli Mkhize, nathi sonke abaphathiswa abasebenzisana naye ukwazi ukuthi sikwazi ukuphepha kwegciwani ekuthiwa phecelezi i-coronavirus. Lento ayinasifundiswa, ayinamntu onemali, ayinamntu wempulazikaljaka, yinto yomntu wonke, ingena kumntu wonke. Ayikhathali uyiphoyisa, ungunesi, ungudokotela, unguminister, ungurazmataz, ungufiyafoko, yonke into iyangena ithathelele. So siyabona ukuthi kuthule kuphephile, abantu bakuthi babamba uqondo. Siyayazi ukuthi nibamba uqondo nje, abanye benu ningasebenzi, abanye benu ninganamisebenzi. Siyayazi lokho, kodwa yawuthi sifumana le misebenzi kube kuphele impilo zethu. Kubalulekile ke ukuthi sihlale siphephile, silandelele imithetho, silandelele nenkulumo kamongameli kakathetha nathi, silandelele namaphoyisa la ayenza ukuthi sihlale siphephile. Makuthiwa itekisi lingagcwalisa abantu, malingagcwalisa abantu. Nani bantu saluvuma ukugibela itekisi elingagcwalisanga, elingalandeli umthetho, ngoba uzolithola leligciwane. Kubalulekile ukuthi silandele umthetho. Nabantu bamatekisi sikhulumile nabo, bazibeka izikhalazo zabo. Kungangakho namhlanje sila sizosho ukuthi eyiphi imithetho esizokuyilandela ukwazi ukuthi siqhubeke ngale. Into enqoka engifuna ukuyicacisa yile yokuthi akho-tekisi livunyelwe ukuhamba. Amatekisi avunyelwe ukuhamba uqala ngo-5 ukufikela ngo-10 o'clock. La maxesha silindelanga ukuthi kube netekisi elilayisha umuntu. Ma abantu befuna ukudla, mabathenge lapho kuseduzane khona, ngoba amashop okudla nokuthola ebuyesuswini aphulile siyazwana ningagcwali yonke indawo le nigcwale niya phezulu naphansi nisokolisa amaphoyisa hlala endlini yakho hlala emkhukhwini hlala endlini ye-RDP hlala kwibhazabhaza yakho hlala lapho ukhoyo phuma esitratweni usho umthetho akunasidingo sokuthi uzithole uqabana namaphoyisa ngoba bawuthukisa uthi angimkhathaleli uRamaphosa angimkhathaleli uBhekile angimkhathaleli uZibandbane ayinobhekile ozofumana igciwane uzolisasaza la eMzantsi Afrika siphele sizofa siphele sonke kungabikho lokuphumelela phambili lento ayingomthetho wendinezelo umthetho onceda mina nawe uyabona njengoba nimile manje nibaningi kakhulu umthetho uthi akufunekanga nibe more than 100 ufuneka nihambe nga-2 uba niye emsebenzini ekuseni namanibuya ntambama hlala kuloo ndawo ufanele uhlale kuyo ngoba akufunelekanga ukuthi abantu siye phezulu naphansi ngoba le gciwane alifani le-HIV and AIDS lapho kuthiwa ngoba akho nto yalapha i-AIDS into ebalulekile ukuthi ube nekhondom le igciwane kuthiwa akufunekanga sisondelane omnye phezu komunye ayifunekanga leyonto omunye phezu komunye ayifuneki kufanele sishaye ikhwif uhambele kude nomuntu wakho akahleleli impondo zambona ngakwegciwane nimvalele manje uzobona second round makahlala naye kuloo ndawo kuyo uswiti wakho umayidani makahlaleli impondo noma uhlale emzinginzingi makahlale kuloo ndawo uzophinda umbona sawuphinda sibonane after 21 days akusho-ke after 21 days sawube siphephile ayisho loo nto sizawuqhubeka silwa igciwane akusho ukuthi after 21 days of lockdown sabe siphephile into esiyenzayo sizama ukuthi egciwane lingahambi ligcwalagcwale lindele yonke indawo libulala abantu funeka sime kuloo ndawo sikuyo singagcwalagcwala indawo ngendawo yilobo nalabo bathanda amanzi ampontshwana utywala sibuvalile ndiyayazi nijayiva kakhulu la itaxi rank utywala akuvumelekanga ungaphuzi uzawubona after 21 days uzaba umuhle unekhomkhom ushayina uyiyele bhonu uba ubumnyama uzaba mhle kakhulu ngoba utywala samshayi so bantu bakuthi namaphoyisa kuthi abendlela namaphoyisa afaka umthetho nomuntu wonke namajoni akuthi siyasebenzisana kodwa niyayazi ukuthi akhona amahlongandlebe kushiwo ngezulu uyalazi ihlongandlebe umuntu ongazwayo ngisho kukhulunywa nje yena ahambe aphume ecaleni ayokwenza okwakhe amaphoyisa azokufaka iswazi le ngalokho bazokufaka iswazi kodwa iswazi lomthetho uzoboshwa mina ngifuna uboshwa nge-coronavirus igama lami lide lidume ngoba kusazozala abantwana manje amagama izoba ngocorona corona number 2 uyabona so hlala ekhaya ningenza amaphoyisa ayenze ukuthi funeka alule isandla somthetho hlala ekhaya lamajoni ala nalamaphoyisa alala ukunisiza kodwa itelesi malingene emgwaqweni kuthiwa lingangena emgwaqweni lilandele umthetho ayisebenza lo ndiyayazi lamateksi ukuthi amaintainwe imali enganemali lo hulumeni uzama imizamo singena kwegciwane nje singena kulento sihlupheka sinenkinga zomnotho kwelizwe abantu abasebenzi umnotho awukhuli manje ke siyayazi inkinga yamatekisi mangasebenzi ukuthi idla ephoketheni kodwa sithi into zakuthi akho sidingo sokuqhankqalaza sigcwale zonke indawo sithembisa ubulala umuntu kuzawulwiwa masingali ngexesha lokufana sibumbane sibambisane. This is not the time to fight. This is not the time to declare shutdown. This is the time to come close to each other and talk. Otherwise, a nation will perish. A nation will disappear. Siyabona kwenzakalani kwamanye amazwe. Uba umongameli welizwe ubengakhathali ubezoyelela yonke into iqhube ngehlobo kufuneka iqhube ngalo ibe nguvula zibhuqe. Masilalela komabonakude kukhulunywa ngamazwe afana nabo Brazil ngisho akukhulunywa njengokuthi abantu bathola igciwane kukhulunywa ngokufa kwabantu kufa abantu aba-42 ngelanga. Ungacabanga nje yini leyo? Masihlaleni kwezi ndawo sikuzo. Uhulumeni usebenza ngamandla ulungisa izinto ukuthi ezinye zazo zifikelele. Njengoba nizwile funeka sitheste uzazi ukuthi uphethele igciwane nokuthi uziquarantine ungamixi nabantu yonke indawo uzazi ukuthi uyagula. Magulayo zivikele hlala endlini bona udokotela yenza lokho ukwazi istatus sakho yini. Upresident ukhulumile wathi kuzophuma 10,000 volunteers zizofikelela kwindawo ngendawo ukwazi abantu bazazi ukuthi isimo sabo yini. Masisebenzisa sibambe amaphoyisa nomphakathi wonke sizozivikela sizolihlula legciwane. Awethu angithi amaphoyisa athi awethu ndikhuluma nalaba bantu bala awethu manje ayikho politics niyabona nani sonke apha eMzantsi Afrika ubuya ngepolitiki uqalisa ngemibutho yonke siyazwana sime ngento enye. Asosikhathi sopolitika lesi ngoba kufa umuntu. Asosikhathi sokugeza isikhathi sokuthi abantu baziqoqe siziphathe kahle siqhelane into zakuthi kwezi ndawo ngendawo sibe kuzo. Ayisosikhathi sokushwabulelana ukuthi silwe ngezinto ezingana usula. Masihlale sisebenzisane sicelisane kungangoko nopasika abantu abayemuriya nalapho indawo abantu bahlangathela khona ingqungquthela zecawa ngecawa kuthiwa thandaza kuloo ndawo ume kuyo. Asiyi kwipasika kulo nyaka kumbi langaphandle ende siyayibulela loo nto. Mawuhamba ujonga la ngaphandle akunamuntu hlala lapha ume khona. Labo badinga usizwa ngenxa yokuthi abanandawo yolala ngoba siyayazi kwenzakalani la. Ibuilding eziningi lazishintshiwe siyayazi kwenzakalani. Kuhlala abantu abahlala kwezindawo bahlala kuzo kodwa kufuneka sizicenge sihlale sime ndawonye sizokwazi ukuphumelela sizivikele siphumelele ekulwiseni leli gciwane leli. So ngiyabulela kakhulu bantu bakuthi ndibulela namaphoyisa ukuthi sizoma la namhlanje sizocacisa ukuthi sizosebenzisana kanjani ukuya phambili ngemithetho emisha esizayisebenzisa basihambayo sisiya phambili. Itekisi kuthiwa fanele lilayishe abantu not more than 70% if abana mask. If uzolayisha itekisi ligcwala abantu ufanele ubafaka mask. Mangana mask uzoboshwa. Uhulumeni uzolinika ama-mask bantu beteksi. Uzolinika ne-sanitize. Manje nani funeka nisimide halfway ukuthi manguvula vala ungavumeli umuntu angene eteksini ungamfakanga i-sanitizer. Siyazwana. Ungavumi mangumshayeli wetekisi ukuthi abantu bakho bangabi nama-mask. So once itekisi ligcwale kakhulu ufanele ufake abantu abamask. Ngoba mawuthinayo nje lingenile igciwane. Ungangokubona namaphoyisa afaka ama-mask because awufuna uthumulela omnye umuntu. Ungangoko kubalulekile ukuthi silandele le mithetho. Yilento sizoyicacisa leyo namhlanje. Akho tekisi elihambayo between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okwamanje ngifuna ukuyicacisa amatekisi ayahamba ngogogo nabodadewethu bahamba bayofumana inkamnkam. Sikuvumele lokho ukuthi itekisi zisebenze nakhona ziyolayisha abogogo, ziyolayisha abogogo. Enye abantu betekisi neenkokheli zetekisi zalo mibutho yazo lihlangene nazo. Ngabatshela ukuthi siwuhulumeni senza lukhulu ukuthi sijonge ukuthi njengoba sisilwa legciwane akukho khona esinokufaka sizama ukubanceda ukuya phambili. Siyazibuka lezo zinto. Mna nginguminister wezothutho kwelilizwe ndiyazi kakuhle impilo yomuntu oshayela iteksi. Ngayigibela iteksi ngade ngavela indeni. Ndikhulela phakathi eteksini, ndiyayazi into yeteksi. So it's not something new. Into esifunayo kulungisa isimo beyond the coronavirus ukwazi ukuthi umnotho wetekisi ukhuphuke nabo bakwazi ukuqhamla kakuhle njengebanye abasomashishini abasakhasayo kwelilizwe. Yilonto esiyilungisayo. So ndiyabulela nto zakuthi injanjoku ndithi-ke masibambisane singalwi. Apho singaboni ngaluso linye, our doors are open. Let's talk among each other. There's no need to fight. But those who want to obstruct the law deliberately and consciously, throwing useless parties, when they are told there must be no party, they must be locked up. And don't lock the people who come to the party, lock the party organizer for a very long time. Because he's breaking the law deliberately. And those who use social media to run roughshod over the law, we will find them. And we will chase them. And we will make them the example of the lockdown of coronavirus. Because they are going out of their way to undermine the law and make the work of the police officers to be difficult. When amajoni ebashayisa i-push-up, amajoni ngiyabona anonymous aphethe isibhamu. Abafani nathi sishayithiya gesti neraba bullet ezimpundu ubaleka. So amajoni ayanaraba bullet akushayisa i-push-up. Akushayisa i-push-up ngoba u-undermine umthetho. Akudingakali lokho ukuthi abantu badelele umthetho. Ngiyasho mfowethu, ngisho kuwe ogqoke ezibhekile, su-undermine umthetho. Sithetha into siyazwana. Ngawubonise ukuthi uyangizwa na. Otherwise ngizibopha khona manje. So bathi ayizodingo sokuthi sishobulelane njengoba ngisithi masebenzisane Let's work together. This is the time to work together. Even beyond 21 days, we must continue to work together to fight coronavirus. Our president has said we must work together. And all of you have obeyed and listened to the president. From the church elders to sports people, you can imagine every day not watching Kaizer Chiefs, that team that loses every weekend, and watching Orlando Pirates, that team that loses every fortnight, and watching Mamelodi Sundowns, that team that wins every day. You can imagine what does that mean for us? Ascoli Bola, Ascoli Luto, because everybody is staying at home. So, Master, hakuna kuundwa asilwe. Siazwana kwa wote. Thank you very much. You must not disperse and go home. Siazwana. Go home. On the right, Mr. Jeff Makubo, who's the executive mayor of the biggest city in the African continent, Johannesburg. And then we have the deputy minister, and then we have the MEC, and then the MMC of transport. And we also have the leadership of the taxi industry. In particular, we have the leadership of NTA that is with us here. I saw the vice president. If we can just wave.
Behind you.
Yeah, just behind me. And then also the Secretary General of NTA is here, Mr. Mlalazi, is also here with us. And we don't have the leadership of Santaco, but we are happy to be joined by them in terms of us announcing these directives. These are the organizations that we have spoken to. We met with Santaco. We also met with NTA. We then, subsequent to that, went to cabinet in the form of the cabinet committee that deals with the coronavirus, and then dealt with the ministers of police and the ministers of COCTA, who are also responsible for the regulations of COVID-19 regulations. Umamu Nkosazana Zuma. We also dealt with the Minister of Health, who actually, before we can implement these directives, in terms of everything that we do, that must have actually passed through him as the people and the custodians of leadership in relation to the fight against COVID-19. So I will read the statement which encapsulates what will happen. You must also underline, ladies and gentlemen of the media, that the regulations were introduced. And the underlining the regulations, it was said that ministers of different departments will be responsible for the directions, or you can call them directives. But the regulations stand. And the regulations in relation to public transport, they stipulate that no public transport will be allowed to operate, meaning taxis, meaning trains, meaning airlines, meaning ship in the sea. They will not be allowed to actually operate. And in this particular instance, in terms of public transport, is minibus taxis and the trains that are actually affected. And we have given a limited service to the taxis to operate. Limited service. And we outlined is between 5 o'clock in the morning and 9 a.m. And then from there in the afternoon, taxis will start to operate from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. And in between that, we have had a major challenge that we have had to deal with in terms of public transport of the elderly people who are supposed to go and get their pensions. Now, in this particular regard, we then amended the directive, or issued the directive, that for the dates of social grant period, taxis will be allowed to operate from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening, so as to deal with assisting the pensioners and all people of the social grants to go and get their issues. So today, we are further giving them directives. Yeah, I'm told that people behind me have gathered, but it's fine. Can you please ensure that you maintain social distance? Is it possible? This thing doesn't work. So I've explained that can people actually maintain social distance in relation to what we are doing here. So you are not required to come closer. And that is what I'm explaining to you. Now, We have indicated that in terms of the regulations, we are going to operate from in the afternoon from 4 to 8. And now what we are introducing today, it's a comprehensive issuing of this directive after consultation with the industry and engaging with colleagues. Since the lockdown came into effect at midnight 26 March, the consultation process also included relevant structures with government and individual ministers. As a consequence of this assessment and consultation, we have revised a number of our measures insofar as they relate to public transport. In consulting with the taxi industry, we have engaged the leadership of Santaco and the national leadership of the Taxi Alliance. As I mentioned before, I must commend the taxi industry for their efforts and commitment to playing their part in enabling mobility of the poor and vulnerable in these trying times. Despite the economic challenges facing the industry, we were able to reach an agreement that guarantees continuous availability of public transport during the lockdown period. We must all appreciate that the measures we have introduced to curb the spread of this virus are about preserving human life and not about our individual, narrow, self-serving interests. Every one of us must appreciate this and play their part in eradicating the pandemic. In our engagements with the taxi industry, we placed on the table critical issues, some of which we have processed, while others remain work in progress. At the time the lockdown was declared, we were in the process of finalizing our plans for the hosting of the National Taxi Indaba, which will be held later in the year to address a number of critical economic issues confronting the taxi industry. Among the key issues to be considered by the Indaba is a sustainable economic empowerment model for the industry. This will include a public transport funding model, which must include a possible subsidy regime in which the taxi industry is a full participant. As you will know, today in South Africa, the taxi industry is not subsidized. And our discussion towards the Indaba, at the center of that discussion, it is the discussion on the subsidy of the taxi industry. Subsequent to these engagements and consultations, we have taken steps to amend directions relating to public transport. Our engagements with our counterparts in government are ongoing to ensure alignment of our directions with the regulations published by the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. We have therefore amended our directives to give effect to the following measures. During the lockdown period, the following public transport measures are important. The following public transport measures are important. During the lockdown, a minibus licensed to carry 10 passengers is limited to carry a maximum of 7 passengers. A minimum minibus licensed to carry 15 passengers is limited to carry the maximum of 10 passengers. A minibus permitted to carry a maximum of 22 passengers is limited to carry a maximum of 15 passengers. A vehicle licensed to carry a maximum of 4 passengers is limited to carrying 50% of its permissible passenger carrying capacity. Alternately, during the lockdown period, all minibus and minibus taxi vehicles are permitted to load their maximum 100 passenger loading capacity as provided for in their operating licenses, provided that all passengers are wearing masks. These masks must be of the following categories. A, surgical masks, which you can see from the, is that a surgical mask? Okay, he's carrying an illegal mask. So, who's having a surgical mask?
That one there.
Yeah, come closer, sir. That is a surgical mask. They must give you this mask, that surgical mask. We'll demonstrate that later. And then 2, an N95 respiratory mask. That is what passengers must have. We require public transport operators to adhere to the directions on sanitizing vehicles and put measures in place to give effect to social distancing at all material times. We know that all minibuses at the present moment are sanitizing their vehicles. But we are emphasizing now, as a matter of law and direction, that it is compulsory that your vehicle must be sanitized, even beyond the 21 days lockdown. And to that extent, government is making a commitment to assist taxi operators with surgical masks and also with sanitizers. Post the lockdown period, we will give priority to the national taxi indab, which will tackle pressing and strategic issues facing the taxi industry. This industry continues to operate on the fringes of the formal economy, despite the fact that they have the largest market share of all public transport modes, in excess of 60%. We are under no illusion that the conflict and violence that continues to define this industry are a consequence of an economic challenge that we need to collectively address as a matter of agency. The taxi indaba will seek to find consensus on a sustainable economic empowerment model. In addition, we will review the effectiveness of the current interventions, which include the taxi recapitalization program and the rollout of the integrated public transport networks. We will similarly pay particular attention to leadership issues and achieving sustainable unity, which must ensure that taxi violence becomes a relic of the past. At the present moment, we are aware that there is no working together between taxi organizations, in particular Santago and NTA. And it is important to get down to the business of sorting out these differences, because it is not going to be in the interest of the public and the industry as a whole to continue to have conflict between taxi organizations. And we know of the issues that Santago is raising in relation to their indifference to the existence of NTA. I have not met with the leadership of NTA since I've been Minister of Transport, and I've met with them during the coronavirus. And in my meeting with them, it will also be about these particular issues, and also to understand their perspective, and also to understand their own existence, how they actually define it. But I'm encouraged by the caliber and the leadership and the integrity of leadership of the taxi industry, that we're able to put our differences aside and work together and collaborate with government to deliver this service, no matter how difficult. And I want to assure them also that we at government because of the challenges of the taxi industry and the issues they've raised with me. I'm working very hard to also explore possibilities of whether or not we cannot put a hand to help the taxi industry in this period. I'm making no commitment up until there is an agreement, and also there is a process at government that is agreed upon that involve all partners that we can as government assist the taxi industry. We are doing this because we know that you will suffer as the taxi industry as a result of the lockdown. And because of your state of affairs in terms of not being regulated, you will not immediately be compensated like all other small businesses will do, because in their own environment they are properly regulated. But at the level of government, we are looking at this particular matter. And I will want to urge every taxi owner, every operator to abide by these regulations and implement this regulation from the heart. And we will continue to engage with the taxi industry, both bilateral with NTA and SATACO and all our provinces, all MECs, because transport is a concurrent function. Jacob Mamabulu here in Gauteng, he will be expected to also do what I'm doing, to engage with everybody at his level. The same of all other MECs. As I've implemented these directions, all the MECs of transport throughout the country have been consulted and have given a go-ahead also in relation to this. They themselves raise reservations in relation to some of the things, and also my colleagues in cabinet did raise the reservations, because at the end of the day, we must not compromise the preservation of life, because you know that, as I conclude, that transport is the biggest spreader of disease, and in particular coronavirus. Coronavirus, to come to South Africa, came by air. It was transported to come to South Africa. Like everywhere in the world, globally, it came by sea. It will now come by taxis. It will come by trains. It will come by our reckless behavior of gathering when we are told not to gather. Like now you are defying me. I'm saying don't gather, but nyangbuka nje. You are gathering nimile nje, ningibukile nje. Noba ngisho ngifake imic ngikhuluma nani ngemic, niyangibuka nje ukuthi uphambene uMbalula. Andiphambananga nto zakuthi maintain a distance. Maintain a distance. Spread. Anilaleli. Uyabona uDeputy Minister la. Angifikeleli kuye. Awubheke umeya la. Umeya angifikeleli kuye. Nina nilaleli, spread asibali lapha. Uyela umuva. Kanilalele kakanye nje. Ngitsho no Bishop omkhulu Likhanyana uyalalela. Thina asilaleli. Ngisho ngikhuluma manje nani. You are not maintaining a distance. You have to maintain a distance. Mawuva nje eduzani kwakho umuntu ekhohlela nje ufane kubaleke uyolala. Ubaleke uyolala. Mawumze ekhohlela uye phakathi lapha uyomtholela into ephelisa elikhohlokhohlo. Ungahambi uyigcwalisa yonke le ndawo lento. Sifanele silalelane. Oloko kubalulekile ene yikho lokho okuzosindisa kule ngquba kaxaka sikuye singayazi ukuthi velaphi. Sithandaza imini ebusuku nemini ukuthi lento isidlule singabantu baseMzantsi Afrika. Siyazwana ke. So ndibekile ke bantu bemedia, ndinganikela kuAyanda aze ukuthi khona imibuzo ezawuza ngqo kimi mina, iye ku MEC, iye ku Mayor, the mayor of the biggest city, Joburg ayondawo yodlalelwa. Uyabona yiyo wonke umuntu la eGoli. Ya nabonke oClever abaphume emaplazini abafana nami sitshonile la eJohannesburg. Mawungibuza ukuthi Mbalula uvela kuphi ngithi ngiphume eGoli. Ngangisebenza la kule building no Nelson Mandela Shell House. Afika la ngisemncane. So manje sesishintshile kulala abantu. Ibuilding ebaluleke kabi le mawulala lana ngaso ulala esitini bekuhlala uMandela kuyo. So uyijonge ibuilding ebalulekile. So bantu bakuthi masilalelane and we must listen to each other. Thank you very much.
Can I go without it?
Yeah, you can go unless you have a sanitizer. You have to sanitize.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is for your hands. Colleagues, I think I'm audible enough. Next, do we have any questions? I've noted one. Lindo? You always have questions. 2 questions? Okay, SABC, I can tell is going live, so we'll get to them later. Please, can you ask your question? Thank you. Question?
Bunani?
Thank you so much. SABC, question? Oh, sorry, I missed your hand.
Graham Raven on the media and sport. Just a follow-up question. If taxis are going to be called up 100%, Minister, and everybody's wearing masks, there's been a lot of confusion up in the air about whether or not masks are effective. Are you certain that this is the right way that government is taking right now? And secondly, where are taxi operators in Santaka and the taxi lines going to be able to get these masks if they're apparently in short demand? I mean, in high demand and in short supply. Thank you.
Okay. So we supposed to go on the line. What's to push up? Okay.
Minister Fikile Mbalula from Jacaranda News. I just want to ask, before revising these new regulations, was the Department of Health engaged, and did they agree with these new regulations?
Thank you so much. I think we're okay for that round. Can I come back to you for the second one? Boss, are you good to go?
Yes. First and foremost, to clarify why we alleviate, let me explain this. It's not total alleviation, and it's to maintain that public transport is prohibited, and the transport that operate will operate from 5 to 10 o'clock, right?
AM, yes.
We have now extended with 1 hour. Let me explain why. People who are at home, the ones who are not obeying the regulations behind you, and who are not listening when I say stay apart, they say they need transport to go and buy goods. And then the shops are opening at 9 o'clock. And that by 9 o'clock, that's when the taxis are stopping to operate. So we're giving everyone who want goods to then have that 1 extra time to get goods and to get whatever that they want from the supermarket. But ideally, taxis should not operate. So you can only achieve 100% in the taxi because you are ferrying in the morning essential workers. Who are the essential workers? The essential workers is that person who works at Baragwanath Hospital. Essential worker is that person who works at the supermarket, so that the supermarket is open and they are able to open for you to get food. That is called essential worker. But a supermarket, a spaza shop, it is there where you stay. So there's no need to commute, to go from Alexander, to go from Hillbrow and visit your friend downtown, in Shell House. You must stay where you are. There's no need to look for a taxi. So when taxi people say they are doing a shutdown, they are helping us a great deal. They are helping us a great deal, but it will affect essential workers. People who are supposed to go to hospital. Now, if they do a shutdown, they are now forcing me to go and look for alternative means of transport. And that is going to ask the buses to transport essential workers. It's not going to be nice because they will start shooting at the buses and all of that. That is why I am saying there is no need for war and shutdowns. Because anyway, we are not making money. We are preserving life. And that is why I'm talking about looking at measures to assist the taxi industry so that they get alleviated the difficulties that they may have in terms of their own installments, in terms of their own taxis. So that is what we are doing. And the reason why we have done so is to cater 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, to cater for umphakathi, yourselves. That's one. In the evening, people complain to us that no, 4 to 8 is fine, it stands. But we give you an extra hour of 9 o'clock so that the taxis can wrap up. We don't expect a taxi in the street after 9 o'clock in the evening. We don't expect a taxi at 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock during the day. We don't expect a taxi that has got no masks to fill up people up to 100% in a taxi. A taxi takes 14, 15 people. And when it is full, 100%, all those people in your taxi, you must have given them masks. And nobody must get into a taxi that is going to be filled up 100% without a mask. Is it risky to do this? It is risky. Did I consult health department? I did. Because taxi people are saying if their taxis are operating as they operate now, it affects them. They can't even fill up a taxi with petrol and pay the drivers and all of that. And government at the present moment is in no position to compensate them. Hence, we are working on those particular measures to check as to that particular possibility. But now and even beyond the shutdown, we'll have to internalize means of how we can operate with the taxi industry by ensuring that we don't compromise the health of people. So that is what must actually happen. When you get into a taxi, you sit down. Before you get in, you get sanitized by the vulavala or a marshal of taxi or the driver. And every people inside the taxi must be sanitized. It's compulsory according to these directives. And everybody, if you are 100%, they must have masks. If they are not having masks, then you must cut to 70%. Do you understand that? It is very clear to everybody. Is it very clear, Bra Ops, from law enforcement? You are not confused. You are very clear. Very clear. Now, Katleong not operating. They should operate those taxis. I'm aware it's not only Katleong. It is in Port Elizabeth. Taxis were not operating, implementing a shutdown. I've asked them to go back to operation. As I met with their national leadership, I've asked them to go back to operation. Because when they introduce shutdown, they stop buses. Now, if they stop buses to ferry essential workers, who is going to look out after the sick in the hospital? Now, that will need us to get soldiers and the police to patrol on the street. and to be in a war with the taxi drivers and taxi people and all of that. That is not necessary, South Africa. There's no time to fight. There is time to work together at the present moment. And that is what I'm emphasizing. How we operationalize masks. The Director General of Transport, working with the provinces, are working now on operationalizing the masks. I know you are saying there is a shortage of the masks, but we are looking at all of that, getting enough masks for everybody so that government is able to supply, including sanitizers. I've got authority on that to speak like that. You will still have challenges where people don't have masks. You must cut numbers in the morning between 5 to 10 and from 4 to 8 o'clock and a grace period of 9 o'clock in the afternoon. Now that is it. Was health engaged? Yes, we engage health all the time on these particular issues and as we implement regulations. But I want to say in conclusion, we will not go beyond this in terms of the directives. Manje kuphelile siqedile. Umthetho must be implemented as is. There is no retreat and going backward. Yesterday, we also dealt with regulations and directives in terms of aeroplanes. There are no aeroplanes that are allowed to land. We are only making exceptional cases where countries have requested to evacuate their citizens from South Africa. We have allowed them to do that. Siyabadedela bahambe bagoduke. Angisho ukuthi bangaphinde babuye but singavuya mama ngabuyi. But mabagoduke bayagoduka bavumelekile. One ticket, no return. No more babuyele emuva. Bakhona ke abalapha ekhaya. There are some of our citizens who are stranded in other countries. Umuntu ebahambile eyojola eyozenzela into zakhe ezimnandi. But esizwa ukuthi sixakwe i-coronavirus uyagibela uyahamba. Uya eBrazil uya ku PNPP. Manje upresident makathi lockdown ubambekile kulondawo akuya akasakwazi ukubuya. Manje we have also, because they are our brothers and sisters, city buyalane ekhaya nihlale ekhaya. Niye kube nizula yonke indawo. Nibuye la ekhaya. But manibuya ningasizeli nomthwalo wabanye abantu ngoba ngeke sivume ukuthi bangene la. So nabo labo basekhaya abakwazi ukubuyela emuva bazobuya. But labo bangazukwazi ukuthi because airlines are not working, they must stay where they are till the lockdown. Bangasabuya bahlale bephephile kwezo ndawo. That's what we are saying must actually happen. So, colleagues, implementing regulations under the lockdown and managing people for their own health is not an easy task. And we want to thank everybody who have taken responsibility for their health individually without relying on government, because government have given you a blueprint of how you can function to avoid coronavirus and continue to do that. And so this is what we are implementing. So South Africa, we are clear in terms of what needs to happen, and we appreciate the support and all those who are responsible, who are overwhelmingly in order in the Republic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, boss. I believe there's one more question. Anybody else, colleagues? And this is to the media. I know Konotata Belapa, Batebateluteta, no minister, Bakunu raise issues, the shop, the spares. I'm aware minister, but the Puma Apa are engaged in the stakeholders. Challenge the media very quickly. How can I? Can I just very quickly get one more hand?
We just wanted some clarity on some points. Will taxi owners and taxi drivers have to provide provide the masks themselves if they want to fill maximum capacity, and the hours. Well, the hours will be from 5 in the morning to 9 in the morning, and again from 4 to 9, or will it be continuously throughout the day from 5 in the morning to 9 in the evening?
Is that the last question, colleagues? That's the last question. Thank you so much.
Taxis are at the present moment procuring sanitizers. Government is going to support them to give passengers these masks. I want to repeat. Government is going to support taxi industry for the masks. But because Mbalula have said this, they are going to say we are still waiting for Mbalula. Now, taxi industry must play its part so that you secure your passengers in your own taxi. Should your taxi be filled to capacity without masks, the law enforcement will stop that taxi. But as of now and tomorrow, I expect masks to be rolled out to the industry. The only headache I want as a minister is a call that says we have not received masks. My team at Transport, wherever they are and the provinces, will be working with all taxis to ensure that masks are provided. There will be no justification to fill a taxi up to 100. If you don't have a mask, you don't have to fill a taxi with 100%. See as what? You must fill it 70%. When you don't have a mask, don't fill the taxi 100%.
Agreed.
Agreed. Watch out, Deputy President we NTA. Ubaba umlalazi unobhala la emva kwami. Siyazwana. When the taxi you don't have a mask, don't fill it up 100%. There are those who take chances, who want a quick buck, and then now ungumntu stranded. Uyazilahlela nje taxini. Uyazi ukuthi uzilahlela kwakhe taxini kukubhubha kwakho. And awubhubhi wedwa nathi siphelile. Yilokho kwenzayo nje. You must understand what you are doing is going to affect the rest of us 100 times. So these are the directives, and they are very clear. Local government, the mayor, I want to give him a chance, because I know he has spoken about the directives and what they are doing. But to speak also about what they are doing to support the industry. You have seen them cleaning the taxi ranks and ensuring that everybody, wherever they are, they understand this. But they will continue to play their part also as local government with the metropolis and all of that. Now, we want to see metropolis executive mayor more than ever before in the streets to ensure that these regulations are implemented and our people are preserved in the taxi ranks and everywhere else, because babaningi abomachansani kansfathers are everywhere. Amahlongandlebe, people who don't listen. Uye uthi ungaphuzi ustokile yena dijonga izakwami kugcwele ziyabuya. Uyabona ziyamporoma. Abanye bathi ba organize iparty ezindlini. Kuyancilwa ngumncilo one way. You are not doing government a favor, you are killing your own nation. Government is not at war with you. Government is trying to assist our people. Masingathi ngomso sithi government this, government that. Njengoba besikhalaza nge-HIV and AIDS, angisho benikhalazela ama-antiretrovirals. Nithi upresident ukhuluma into eningayi-understand, nina nifuna amaphilizi kuphela. Siwafakile amaphilizi for abantu abaphethe igciwane le-HIV and AIDS, and nalo abantu baziconducta kakuhle kakhulu. Namanje ngaleli gciwane masisebenzise le mithetho ikhoyo ngoba kuthiwa izosiza. Mina anginguye udokotela nguzweli Mkhize, qualified doctor. Uye esikolweni uyayazi into ayishoyo. Hayi mina no Jeff sidlula njengendlela. Sizwa lonto ayishoyo udokotela Mkhize. Umathi sikhuluma umthetho ukuya ngehealth fanele simlalele. Umongameli makathi lockdown thina siya implementa nje kuphela. Ematekesini nakuphi nakuphi. So that's what is important. Mayor, let me sanitize you before. I don't want you to leave here without talking to your people, please.
Yeah, thank
President.
Thank you, Minister. Colleagues, JMPD is ready. Anyone who breaks these regulations will get the wrath of the JMPD. But I know that working together, Minister, and people are behaving. We are busy now deep cleaning the taxi ranks. We are busy sanitizing the taxi ranks, but the taxi rank behind me, it was clean yesterday. It's dirty today. I think it's a shame that we clean, people litter. So we're going to be working together with the industry, working together with our people in ensuring that we keep our places clean. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We done, boss?
Yeah, done.
All right, colleagues, thank you very much for availing yourself. It brings to a close today's program. Any other questions that you would have, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me. I've already sent you an electronic version of what the minister has had